Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we're looking at Ajax from the Dutch league and I'm going to be doing a team guide in preparation for my new career mode that's going to be starting in a couple of weeks. Hopefully this is going to be useful if any of you decide to do a career mode alongside me, or even if you're watching this in the far future, you'll get a nice glimpse of how the Ajax team is and where you need to strengthen and where you need to develop young players, etc. And I'll also suggest some transfers that I'm looking at for my career mode that you can probably implement into yours too. So as always, I'll put the spreadsheet on the screen right now and you'll be able to see exactly what I can see while I'm recording this. So on the left hand side, we have a list of all the players sorted by their overall ratings. You can see Dusan Tadic is the best on my list, and Kenneth Taylor at 18 hasn't quite developed to be a first team regular yet, but he's definitely got the potential. On the right hand side, you'll see an overview of where the team's weak, which positions has the average overall, the average potential, and then a sum of these two numbers to give us the average position strength metric, I guess you could call it. But anyway, let's get started straight away. A goalkeeper, you can see things are not looking good. You've got the old man Martin Stecklenburg, who's a 72 overall and 37 years old. The next best goalkeeper is Kjell Scherpen, a 20-year-old who's nowhere near the first team yet, and Dominik Kotarski, who again is a 20-year-old and not near the first team. We're going to obviously need to buy a goalkeeper here, and we're going to have to try and develop these two young goalkeepers as best we can. So I'll make sure I recommend a transfer for goalkeeper at the end of the video. Next up we have left back. There's only one at the club and it's Nicolas Tagliafico. He's really good for the level. The Argentinian national is definitely Champions League ready. He's 28 years old, so he's still in his prime, so we don't need to worry too much about him declining, so we'll need to get a backup left back too. As centre back, things are looking alright. The standard of football in the Eredivisie means we do need to average around a 75 overall in each position to be a champion, so at 76.25 at the minute with 83 potential, we're looking good at centre back. The options are Daley Blind, who's a lot younger than I thought he was at 30 years old, but you've also got Lisandro Martinez at 22, who's a massive prospect for the future. Per Schurz is a 20-year-old at 74 overall, and Jurrien Timber at 72 overall and 19 is definitely one we're going to try and develop as well as we can. So centre-back is absolutely covered. At right-back we have Sean Kleiber and Nusser Mazraoui, who are both really good. It's brought down overall because we have Divine Wrench, who hasn't quite developed and is only 17 years old. So we're just going to discount him and say right back is also covered as centre back is too. Defensive mid, we only have a single one of these, Edson Alvarez, but we could always play Daley Blind there if we do have a shortage. I would consider probably buying a backup centre defensive mid, so that's again a position I'm going to look into quickly at the end of this video. If you played any of the 5 FIFAs before this one, you'll know that the Dutch like to use a 4-3-3 system. It was Alan Smith's favourite bit of commentary, and Martin Tyler always agreed that they do play 4-3-3. You can see this in the squad with the fact that they have no left mid and right mid, instead they have left wings and right wings. So at winger, we have 3 left wings with an average overall of 80 rated. Dusan Tadic is playing left wing, but we're probably going to be playing him as attacking midfield. David Neres is a really high rated winger on the left hand side, so he's going to probably be starting, and the other left winger in the squad is Osama Idrissi, who has the potential to be just as good as Neres is now. I wouldn't consider left wing to be one that we need to strengthen. On the right, we have Anthony, who's got potential to be the best out of anyone in the squad except for Gravenberch in centre midfield. So we're probably just going to want a backup there who can develop into a nice sort of high 70s backup right winger and not be taking the shine off Anthony, who we're going to be starting every single game. As striker, we've got Sebastian Haller, who's joined recently from West Ham, but then behind him we have Lassana Traore, who's not quite there yet, but has the potential to be really good, as does Brian Brobby, who's also an 18-year-old, 69 rated. You know, he's going to be good when he develops, but not currently starting class for us, so we're not going to bother buying a new striker. Well, maybe if someone like Zlatan or Luis Suarez wants to join us, just so we have another old man Ajax player, but that's a different story. That's just how I like playing the game. Okay, anyway, back to midfield, where we skipped because we went straight to the wingers. In central midfield, we have 3 with an average rating of 73 and 2/3. We have Davy Klaassen, who's the best of the central midfielders, Ryan Gravenberch, as I previously mentioned, super highly rated, and then 18-year-old Kenneth Taylor, who's recently been added to the game, has the potential to be one of the better players in the squad. So central midfield, we only have 3, but you'll probably be playing someone like Mohamed Kudus or Dusan Tadic centre midfield too if there is a shortage, so we might be interested in signing a backup central midfielder. The final position we're looking at is central attacking midfield. As I mentioned before, this is probably where I'm going to be playing Tadic, but we do have Kudus as previously mentioned, and Zakaria Labyad, who was very highly rated on an old FIFA, never quite did it because of fitness and attitude reasons, but he's back at Ajax and we're looking to see if we can make him our backup attacking midfielder. So that's something we're not going to be focusing on here either. We're not going to be signing an attacking midfielder. So that leaves us with a first choice goalkeeper, backup left back, backup central defensive midfielder and backup central midfielder. Easy, that's a good, easy amount of players to sign. And we do have quite a big budget as Ajax too. We start off with about £26 million, so we have more than enough budget to sign some players while also improving our youth scouting network. So, the first one we're going to look at is that starting goalkeeper. This is a very important position to get right, and the player I want to sign is Zach Stefan. He would be an improvement on what Ajax already have. He'd also market Ajax better to the American market, which I'm sure is very important to them, especially with recent signings like Serginho Dest. And because he's Manchester City's second choice, he'll probably be reasonably cheap or possibly available on loan for us, which would be a big bonus for our squad transfer budget. If Stefan wouldn't want to join us on loan, I'd also be tempted to sign Tim Krul off Norwich City because they haven't been promoted to the Premier League just yet on FIFA. In real life, of course, they have, and he's their starting goalkeeper, but I'm sure he'd rather have Champions League football at Ajax than play for Norwich City. So that's my 2 transfer targets. I need you guys to suggest any improvements or who you think would be realistic in the comments below, and then I'll try and get them into my squad. Anyway, moving forward to left back, where we need a backup for Tagliafico. In real life, they might be needing a first choice as well because it looks like Tagliafico might be going to Leeds United. But for now, we won't be considering selling him unless we get a ridiculous offer. The player I want to be my backup is Murphy Oskadoli at Slavia Prague. The 5'9" Liberian has really good athletic ability. He's got pace, agility, balance, jumping and stamina for days, as well as being decent off the ball. His defensive stats aren't great, but I can imagine as Ajax will probably be on the offensive more than the defence for most of the time. He also brings the ability to play defensive midfield and offer a total different option to what we already have, with a really fast player playing in midfield, because quite a lot of our midfield is currently slow. My second choice to be a backup left back would be Ian Maatsen at Charlton Athletic. He definitely doesn't have the ability to start for Ajax yet, and he's recently left Chelsea to join Charlton on a full-time deal. Ian Maatsen would be very cheap, and he's got the potential to be really good too. He's only got the physicals at the moment, and his defending is very much subpar, but we can definitely use some of our amazing staff to train that up into the low 80s. So that's the 2 backup left backs that I would like, Maatsen and Dorley. Again, let me know what you think about these 2 guys. I know Dorley will probably be a pretty good idea for me because he'll definitely be good enough to start after probably 1 or 2 seasons, especially if we sell Tagliafico, but I think Maatsen could be a bit of a hidden gem that not many people have used. Let me know if you have any other suggestions for this position in the comments. Okay, now we're moving forward to central defensive midfielder. So one of the options we have, as I previously mentioned, would be Dorley, who would also cover here as the backup. I think that's probably what I'll end up doing unless you guys have any other suggestions, but my second choice to be a backup after Dorley is going to be Patrick Berg from Bodo Glimt in Norway. There's a strong Scandinavian connection to Dutch football, and that's what I'm going to try and get here. In a similar way to Dorley, Patrick Berg has really high stamina, however he doesn't quite have the pace, but he's much better on the ball. His short passing, long passing, ball control, vision, sprint speed, agility, they're all over 75, which is all you need in a fairly young player at just 22 years old. Berg would be more of a ball playing midfielder than a chase it down and tackle midfielder that Dorley would be, but that's fine, you can always use a balance here. So, again, that's the 2 transfer options I've got, Dorley and Berg. Let me know if you've got any suggestions for who you'd sign a defensive midfielder below. The final position is central midfielder, so a little bit more attacking than defensive midfielder. Berg could easily play this role too, because he can play as centre midfielder and central defensive midfielder, so he's going to be my first option for that position too. I think signing Dorley and Berg would cover so many positions that that's probably what I'll be doing, but let me know if you have a different option. My backup central midfielder, in case we can't get Berg, is going to be Gustavo Hemer, the Brazilian-Dutch midfielder who currently plays for Coventry City. I think he'd be a decent backup. He's got an alright overall rating of a 73, he's really aggressive, he's got good balance, good stamina once again, he's better on the ball than either of the other 2 players, although he is a little bit slower, and he can play in a couple of positions in CM and CDM once more. He'd be a more attacking midfielder than Berg would be, or Dolly would be, but I like that. It would be a good balance having him in there too. Again, he's a good player, and he's Dutch, which is always bonus points. He did used to play for PEC Zwolle in this league, and he played 2 times for Feyenoord, who are Ajax's big rival, of course. One last time for this video, do let me know who you would sign to be your central midfielder, and I might incorporate that in episode 1 of the series when we make it. So anyway, that's my team guide for Ajax. It's a bit longer than normal because obviously I'm going into more detail because I'm including my plans and what I'm going to do in this series. If you do give this a go, let us know in the comments how you got on, because I think it'd be really interesting to hear everyone's different opinion, and it could definitely influence my choices in my career mode. If you have a player that you swear by and they're really good and you want me to try them out, I'm happy to give them a scout and see what they're like. But anyway, that's my opinion on the Ajax team, where they need to strengthen, and who you should not let go. Unfortunately with Ajax, there's always going to be a bit of a stepping stone culture where teams from bigger countries come in and swoop up all the good talent. We're going to try and abide by that in the career mode, so if we do get a big offer for a player, expect them to leave and I'll try and replace them with someone even better. But anyway, thank you for watching this very long team guide. I think this is the longest one by about 5 minutes. So yeah, thanks for sticking around if you did make it this far, and I hope you have a good day, and thank you for watching. See you around.